Hello sewists! This is my new tutorial on how to sew a warm anorak made of teddy fabric. This top is perfectly suitable both for autumn and for winter. You can find the sewing pattern for this top in my Etsy shop, Veriga Patterns. In the same place, you will also be able to find all the information about the fabric, the yardage, and the sewing notions that you will need in order to sew this anorak. I also want to say that for the first several days after the release of this video, there will be a discount on this anorak sewing pattern in my shop. Please also do not forget to subscribe to the channel. This is very important for the development of my small business. Step 1. Assembling the sewing pattern. Before you begin assembling the sewing pattern, I recommend that you check the test squares on the first page. Their size should be 1 by 1 inch or 2.5 by 2.5 centimeters. Now you can begin gluing the pages together. Align the sheets 4 in a row. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the next row, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. Everything is ready. Step 2. Cutting. Now you can proceed to cutting. Pay attention to the direction of the grain line and cut along the arrow that you see on the sewing pattern pieces. Also pay attention to the folds. If the sewing pattern says fold, then you need to place that side of the piece along the folded edge of the fabric, as shown in the video. All the pieces are ready. Excellent. Step 3. Interfacing. I'm using fusible tape along the straight grain and the bias to reinforce the edges I need. This helps strengthen the garment and improves the fit. First, I cut the required length, and then I press it with an iron so it fuses to the fabric. Step 4. Darts. Let's start sewing the sleeve darts, which are placed on the shoulders. First, pin the dart together. Perfect. Now finish the raw edge with a serger. Next, mark the stitch line on the dart, just as shown in the video. Sew along this line, then press the seam with an iron from both the wrong side and the right side. Step 5. Joining the front and back. Let's start with the front. Place the front sleeve piece and the front bodice piece right sides together and pin them as shown in the video. Now sew the seam with the serger and press it from both the right and wrong sides, just like that. Next, we'll do the same with the back. Pin the back bodice to the back sleeve piece, right sides together, as shown in the video. Sew the seam on the serger. Perfect. Now press the seam from the inside and outside. The intermediate result should look like this. You're doing great! Step 6. Collar. First, finish one of the edges with a serger, as shown in the video. Then place the two collar pieces right sides together and pin them. Perfect. Now mark a stitch line about 7 millimeters, 1/4 inch from the edge, and sew it on the machine. Don't forget to backstitch at the beginning and end. Press the seam with an iron, then turn the piece over and press again from the right side. Next, sew a top stitch to secure the seam allowance, just as shown in the video. Stitch 1 millimeter from the edge, then press the seam from both sides. Fold the collar in half lengthwise and press it, as shown. Now pin the collar to the neckline, matching the notches. Sew the seam with a serger, making sure to remove the pins so you don't break the needle. Finally, press the seam with an iron. Excellent. The finished result should look like this. Step 7. Second layer of the front. First, finish the front edges along the sleeve seams with a serger, then press the seams with an iron. Next, pin the upper sleeve seam to the collar and mark a stitch line 7 mm, 1/4 inch, from the edge. Sew along this line on the machine. Press the seam as shown in the video. Excellent! Step 8. Zipper. First, mark 7 centimeters down from the center front, as shown in the video. Do this on both the right side and the wrong side of the fabric. Finish the marked edge with a serger. Baste the zipper in place from the center collar seam down to the mark. The zipper length and all other materials are listed in the Etsy product description. Use a zipper foot and sew it in place as shown in the video. Repeat the same steps for the other side of the zipper. Perfect, all done. Now place the front pieces right sides together and arrange the garment in a comfortable way. Match the front seams and pin them. Sew the seam as shown in the video. Excellent. The zipper is installed. Now top stitch along the seam line. Now we need to sew a securing stitch, attaching the front piece to its second layer. To do this, place the layers right sides together and sew a securing stitch 7 mm, 1/4 inch, from the edge. Be careful to leave a gap for the zipper so you don't sew over it. Perfect. The result should look like this. Next, sew a decorative top stitch to secure the seam allowance, 1 mm from the seam, as shown in the video. Now let's attach the second part of the collar to the garment. Since the collar consists of 2 pieces and only one is attached so far, pin it in place, as shown in the video, and sew a stitch 1 mm from the edge as demonstrated. Perfect. The finished result should look like this. Now let's press the seam with an iron. Step 9. Lower front piece. First, mark 5 centimeters from the center on each side. Next, finish the marked section with a serger. Place the lower front piece right sides together with the upper front and pin along the length of the marked section, as shown in the video. Mark a stitch line 7 mm, 1/4 inch from the edge. Sew along this line on the machine, remembering to backstitch at the beginning and end. Now finish the entire raw edge with a serger. Excellent work! Finally, press the seam with an iron. Step 10. Side seam. Now we'll work on the side seam. First, turn the garment so you can sew right sides together. Pin along the entire length of the seam, from the sleeve down to the hem, as shown in the video. Next, finish the seam with a serger. Excellent! You're doing great! Finally, press the finished seam with an iron. Step 11. Final finishing of the garment. First, let's finish the inner edge of the sleeve. Serge the raw edge of the sleeve. Then mark 4 centimeters from the hem with chalk and fold it in half, as shown in the video. Sew along the fold on the sewing machine, then press the finished hem with an iron. Do the same for the bottom hem of the garment, and it is complete. Do not forget again that you have the opportunity to join my WhatsApp sewing community and to ask me any question about any of my patterns there. Also, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Since I have very few subscribers, each one of you greatly helps my promotion. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.